Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we will be discussing some FSO MCQ on topic fat and lipids. So let's start. What is the solubility of lipid in water? What is lipid? Lipid is a broad group of naturally occurring molecules which include fat, waxes and sterol. The main function of lipids is storing energy. Storing energy. G. And you can see that in a solubility test, this is a yellow color is a oil or lipid and it is a water. Oil and water is not soluble, but oil is a soluble in polar solvent. What is a polar and non-polar solvent? Polar solvent is a have positive or negative charge in different place in their structure. Water is a polar solvent, and another polar solvent are acetone, methanol, and isopropene is an example of polar solvent. And non-polar solvents are means equally charged. They contain bonds between atoms with similar electromagnetic, such as the carbon and hydrogen. Example of non-polar solvents are benzene, toluene, lunes, and hexane. Hexane and chloroform and diethyl ether. It is example of non-polar solvent. So, what is the answer of this question? Lipids are not soluble in water. So, option C are correct. Insoluble in water. Lipids are insoluble in water. Fatty acid are dash nature. What is a fatty acid? It is a building block of fat in our body. In the food we eat. During the digestion, to body breakdown of a fat into fatty acid. Fat is a breakdown into fatty acid. We can see that this is structure of uh, it is structure of fat. So there is a phospholipid. Lipids are amphoteric molecule. There is a fat molecule in the hydrophobic tails and hydrophilic head. This fat. But amphoteric nature. What is amphoteric nature? Are molecules. Amphoteric molecules have both hydrophobic and hydrophilic groups are attached. So it is the meaning of amp amphipathic nature or group. What is the hydrophilic? Hydrophilic group is a material water loving have tendency to be wet by water. It is a hydrophilic is the loving of water. And what is hydrophobic? It is a lacking of affin affinity of water, insoluble in water. It is a repelling of water. Example of Hydrophobic is a oil, fats, and alkane. What is the hydroscopy? Hydroscopy, it is a phenomenon attracting and holding of water molecule in either absorbent and absorbents for the surrounding of environment. It is a substance that is attract of the water or absorbent. Example of hydroscopic is the sodium chloride and zinc chloride. So option of this, the correct options are A, amphipathic nature. Is not biological function of lipids. Options are A, storage from metabolic function, it is function of lipids. B, have protective function of bacteria, plants and insects, it is also function of lipids. C, the structural component of membrane, yes, it is also function of lipid. D, exhibit increase the catalytic activity, is not function of lipids. So option is D, is not biological function of lipids. Which of the following is an example of unsaturated fatty acid? What is a saturated and unsaturated fatty acid? Saturated fatty acid is a type of fat in which the fatty acid chain have all single bond. The fatty acid chain is only single bond. It is a saturated fatty acid. And unsaturated fatty acid have one or more carbon double bond. One or more carbon double bond. This is chain of fatty acid is a one or more double bond. The example of unsaturated fatty acid is the avocado, cashew, oil, olive oil, peanut, and sesame oil. See this picture. There is a mention. This is saturated fatty acid has three chains: short chain, medium chain, and long chain. And unsaturated fatty acids are two types, divided in two types: just the monosaturated fatty acid and polyunsaturated fatty acid. And this is example which is of short chain of saturated fatty acids are butyric acid, uh, cupric, capric, medium chain, capric, lauric, maestic, long chain, uh, phlegmatic, steric, acidic, dehenic, and unsaturated fatty acids are example are phlegmic acid, leonic acid, uric acid, unsaturated fatty acid, linoleic, arachidonic, eicosapentaenoic acid, and docosahexaenoic acid. This is an example of uh, polyunsaturated fatty acid. Move to the options are, what is the example of unsaturated fatty acid? Lauric. Lauric. It is the Lauric is the example of a saturated fatty acid. Saturated medium chain fatty acid. This is the linoleic. It is the this one. This is the unsaturated fatty acid. And phlegmatic is also is long chain saturated fatty acid. And meristic is saturated fatty acid. The correct answer is linoleic. Option B. Name the two essential fatty acid. We can see that there is a two types of essential fatty acid, omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-3 has three examples are eicosapentaenoic acid, docosahexaenoic acid, alpha leonic acid, and omega-6 are linoleic acid. Move to the options. Linoleic and alpha leonic, it is all, this is an example of essential fatty acid, alpha and linoleic. Oleic is the example of saturated fatty acid. Linoleic is a unsaturated fatty acid. Lauric and malastic both are the saturated fatty acid. Arachidonic and arachidonic is unsaturated and oleic is the saturated. The option A is correct. It is a two essential fatty acids. The melting point of fatty acid depend upon the chain length and dash. Options are the shape of fatty acid, B, the position of double bond, C, charge on carbon, D, degree of unsaturation. The melting point of fatty acid is determined by length of the chain and number of a double bond. Number of a double bond. The longer the chain, the higher the melting point. The longer the chain, this type of chain, so the longer the melting point. Longer the chain, higher the melting points, larger number of double bond, and then there is a larger number of double bond. The lesser of melting point. The correct answer is B, the position of double bond. Which of the following of lipids are also referred as a neutral lipid? We can see that this is a types of lipids. Lipids are divided into four categories: simple, compound, derived, miscellaneous lipids. In simple lipids, there is a triglyceride, waxes. In compound lipids, phospholipids, glycolipids, lipoprotein. In derived lipids, fatty acid, steroid, icosanoate, ketone bodies, and miscellaneous lipids in squalene and carotenoids. The options are triglycerol. What is a triglycerol? It is a ester of fatty acid glycerol. Since there is a uncharged, they are also known as a neutral fat. They are triglyceride is uncharged, and they are also known as a neutral fat. Neutral lipids, hydrophobic molecule lacking the charge group. What is steroids? Steroids are a man-made version of a hormone normally produced by the adrenal gland, or two smaller glands are found in a kidney. The example of steroids: steroid, cholesterol, bile acid, and some drugs. What is phospholipid? Phospholipid is a class of lipids whose molecule has hydrophilic head, contain phosphate group, and two hydrophobic tails derived from the fatty acid joined by the alcohol residue. What is wax? Wax are ester of long chain fatty acid of monoalcoholic acid. The wax are divided into natural and synthetic. In the natural wax derived from the plant and animal and petroleum, and synthetic wax are derived from the artificial man-made. The correct option is A. Triglycerol is a neutral lipid. Name the reagent which is used in saponification. What is a saponification? It is a hydration reaction where free hydroxide break ester bond between fatty acid and glycerol of triglyceride, resulting in free fatty acid and glycerol. This is the saponification reaction, which triglyceride is breakdown by the 3NOH by sodium hydroxide is converted into glycerol and soap. The reagent are used in saponification reaction is NOH and oblique KOH. Option C is correct. Which of the following is not a component of phospholipids? What is a phospholipid? It is a class of lipid. Whole molecules have hydrophilic head containing phosphate group. hydrophilic end of head is the phosphate group. It is phosphate group, and two two hydrophobic tails, which is derived from fatty acid and joined by alcohol. This is joined by alcohol, and this glycerol, alcohol, and phosphate is a component of phospholipid. But protein is not a component of phospholipid. So option D is correct. Protein is not a component of phospholipid. Which of the following phospholipids is considered as a major constituent of nervous tissue? Options are A. Glycerophospholipid, B. Plasmalogen, C. Inositol, D. Sphingomycelium. The correct option is A. Glycerophospholipids. Which of the following sterol is present in the cell membrane of fungi? The options are hygrosterol, stigmasterol, cytosterol, D. Campesterol. This you can see that this is a hygrosterol which is present in a cell membrane of fungi. So correct option is A. Identify the lowest density lipoprotein among the following. Options are A. HDL. The full form of HDL is a high density lipoprotein. Option B. LDL, low density lipoprotein. C. Very low density lipoprotein. Option D is a chylomicron. You can see that the density of chylomicron is less than VLDL than IDL, LDL, and HDL. The correct answer is D, which is lowest density of lipoprotein. Name the most active organ in animal's body which have the ability to synthesize the triglycerol. Options are spleen, kidney, liver, and intestine. D. Adipose tissue. The correct answer is liver and intestine. Which of the following pathway is not used in a triglycerol synthesis? The options are A. Glycero 3-phosphate pathway, B. Glycoxylate pathway, C. Monoacylic glycerol pathway, D. Kennedy pathway. The correct answer is B. Which of the following enzyme is not used in synthesis of a triglycerol? The options are A. Glycerose 3-phosphate seal transferase, acid glycerophosphate seal transferase. Option C. Phosphatidic acid and phosphohydrolase. Option D. Glycogen phosphorylase. The correct answer is A. What is lipolysis? Lipolysis, you can see that this is a conversion of a triglyceride into fatty acid. This is a hydrolysis of triglyceride. It is a function of lipolysis. Which of the following hormones is not used in hydrolysis of a triglyceride into fatty acid in adipose tissue? What is adipose tissue? It is otherwise known as a body tissue or body fat, also known as a body fat. It is adipose tissue is the connective that extends through our body, and main function of adipose tissue is storing and releasing of fluid energy to fuel. and the body and releasing the important hormone visual to the body needs. The options are epinephrine, norepinephrine, glucagon, and D. Insulin. A, B, and C. These options are hormones which is used in hydrolysis of glycerol into fatty acid in adipose tissue. Only insulin is not. Hormones are used in hydrolysis of triglyceride into the fatty acid. The correct option is D. Insulin. Mark the incorrect statement about bile salt. Options are, you can see that this is the structure of bile salt which is present in liver. Options are, these are the detergent substance. This statement is correct. B, storage in gallbladder. This bile salt is present in gallbladder. This is one. This statement is correct. C, it is hydrophobic in nature. It is wrong. Bile salt is both hydrophilic and hydrophobic in nature. So this option is this statement is incorrect. Option D, it is made by the clonic acid. This statement is correct. Only C, uh, option C is correct. Bile salt is hydrophobic and hydrophilic in nature. So incorrect statement is C. Option C. Triglyceride packed with the adipoprotein and cholesterol in the lipoprotein aggregate is called. Options are chylomicron, VLDL, HDL, and LDL. The correct option is A. Chylomicron. What is the biosynthetic source of all steroid hormones? Options are cholesterol, B. ketone body, C. carbohydrate, D. protein. The correct answer is ketone body, which is biosynthetic source of all steroid hormones. For our more video, please see the link in description, and for daily updates and study material, please follow us on the Telegram, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So subscribe our channel, share with your friend. Thank you.